So I kept you in suspense about what games I brought home from PAX Unplugged this year. But it wasn't just to keep you in suspense. I actually wanted to open, learn, and at least get some sample plays in of each game so I can genuinely tell you a little bit about them so you can know, is this a game that's going to be for you? Howdy and welcome. I'm Mike, your board gaming every dude, and this is Board Games for One. Let's look at our first game. We're going to go from the smallest to the largest, so hang in there. Now, you're going to notice a pretty heavy sci-fi theme. I'm not sure how it happened. If you're into sci-fi, that's great. If you're not, stick around, stick around. There's a variety in here. This isn't all narrative or thematic or anything like that. Some of it's quite Euro-ish. So if you like Euros, and you might be open to a space theme, stay in there. There's a nature game in there too. But let's start with Escape from Flat Earth. First of all, it chirps. I'll see if I can get you to hear it. Yeah, see? It chirps like the little Star Trek comms. This is supposed to be a comms device. So this is for 1 to 6 players. I will say up front, it is first and foremost a group game. 2 players, 3 players, 4, 5, 6, whatever. I can see all of them working well. It's very fun solo, but this is first and foremost an interactive game with other people. So what you do in Escape from Flat Earth, it's a play on a lot of Star Trek games. You're going to see the artwork. You know, I never know how I'm going to edit this. But anyway, it's a play on a lot of these spacey type themes. You've got characters in there that, you know, it's not Ellen Ripley, but it sure looks like her. Uhura from Star Trek, and so many others you'll see up there. The goal of the game is to be the last of the survivors to survive Flat Earth. So you get beamed down onto Flat Earth, and you have a hand of cards that you get to play. So when it's your turn in the multiplayer game, don't worry, I'll cover solo. In the multiplayer game, when it's your turn, you can play as many cards as you like. Then at the end of your turn, you have to flip from the draw deck. And that might be an event or an attack. If it's an attack, one of your survivors that you have, or your crew, I suppose, one of your space crew, gets killed. They're out, right? There are ways to save them. You can teleport and all that. But your goal is for everyone not to die. You have to have at least one person alive at the end to win. If there's an event and you're playing multiplayer, the event will have a symbol. And if you have a card that matches that symbol, then you play it. Whoever plays it first gets to take the next turn first. Otherwise, play goes in clockwise order. So you can see it's kind of a rambunctious game. And you do have to enjoy some humor and storytelling. If you don't enjoy the humor and creating a little bit of a ridiculous space story, landing on flat Earth and all these ridiculous things happening, if you don't enjoy that, you're going to miss a lot of the game. So something to know, it says it's for ages 8 and up. There is some mild language. All right, so some very light cuss words, so just know that in there. I was a little surprised to see 8, but it's very light. So know that in there. There's maybe 5 or 6 cards. That's about it. Nothing you wouldn't see on a TV show, but very good to know. For the solo game, you will need to go to the website and you will need to download the solo rules. When I played it solo, I enjoyed it, but I felt like I would enjoy it more playing with others. But I'm very happy it has the solo mode. It is wonderfully done. You have just like the multiplayer game, you are playing against not so much an AI, but against an event deck. And each event that happens can do things to you, just like in the main game, other players can mess with you by cards that they play. Well, the event can do terrible and funny things to you. And you can do things to prevent, mitigate, all that. And your goal is the same, to survive to the end, to have at least one crew member alive at the end of the event. So yeah, Escape from Flat Earth, little box, a lot in there, super entertaining. Let's go to our next. Cyber Doom Tower. Cyber Doom Tower. And this is by Little Rocket Games. It was distributed by Gigamex. So I found it at the Gigamex stands. And I'm sorry, Escape from Flat Earth is from somebody. Who are you from? I don't know. Look, I'd have to pull out the instruction manual. So Escape from Flat Earth. I don't have a clue who made it. But I see that it finished on Kickstarter. So we'll see if it comes to retail or not. All right. Cyber Doom Tower. So this is a 1 to 2 player game. This is a great little solo experience. Do not let this little box fool you. This thing is meaty. It took me a good 30 minutes or so to learn. So on the negative side, I will say the instruction booklet is at least for me, I had to go back and reference a few times for my first play. Not a huge deal. I think the way I think just didn't jive with the instructions, because there were a few areas where I was like, I don't know if this is the case. When I finally figured it out, I was like, the instruction booklet says it right. I just feel like there needs to be an FAQ or something at the end. But look, wonderful. So in this game, you are climbing the Cyber Doom Tower to face the evil AI that's going to destroy the world. If you're playing it solo or co-op, the game plays exactly the same. If you play co-op, the challenge is just revved up a little bit. Instead of collecting 3 keys before getting to the top of the tower, you have to collect 4, and you divide the total rounds. So there's 12 rounds. So if you're playing solo, you control every turn for those 12 rounds. That's 12 rounds to get to the AI. The AI can take many rounds. But anyway, if you're playing 2-player, it's still 12 rounds. So you're just going to be dividing that amongst each other. So no longer in play. I think this says 30 minutes. I don't know. I never go by what I think mine, it says 15 minutes. 15 minutes if you like race through and fail, maybe. I would say 30 minutes. But hey, it says ages 12 and up. This is 8-bit art, just like you can see, but super cool. So you've got minions that are on each floor of the tower, and you've got an elevator that you can take up and down to any floors that you want. Your goal is to go through those floors and collect 3 keys if you're playing solo, or 4 keys if you're playing 2-player. Once you get those keys, you go to the top floor and you go to this console thingy, this control panel, which then lets you access the final AI boss that you have to defeat. In order to combat, so you've got the AI closing in every round. If they get to you, they attack you. You can attack them as well. You have HP or energy that goes down. You also get to spend 3 action points each turn. Those action points can be used to move, to attack, to pick things up, all kinds of stuff. You also have a luck die that can be used to mitigate your dice rolls. So what you would do is you would use action points to move towards, say, a key, and then you get to pick up that key. After you pick up that key, you have to roll for noise, basically. Roll to hide and find out whether you were successful or not. If you're successful, great. You can take another action until you're out of actions. If not, then your turn is over. Once the AI attacks you on a floor, you can't hide anymore. Also, once the AI slowly makes its way over, if it covers the entire floor, then you can't go to that floor to get things anymore. So it's a race, as the AI are all moving as the game progresses, and each round may or may not cause them to move to the left. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. You can collect items, you can increase your energy, you can increase your luck die. There's a lot going on. And for the battle, if you've seen the cards in the pictures, you'll see that there are different die allotments. So you roll all these die, and they have to be placed in the pattern to match that enemy, whether it's the sentries that are smaller or the AI. So for example, let's say it's an AI at the end that has 5 energy, so we have to hit him 5 times. We can collect different weapons that might do more damage. Otherwise, your standard damage is just 1 damage. That's a lot. Well, to do that 1 damage, or however many damage your weapon does, you roll the die, and you have to place them onto that AI card to match what they have. So if it's a red spot, it has to be a red die. If it says red 6, it's got to be a red 6. You got to place it there. You can use abilities that you gain throughout the game to change your dice rolls, but they all have to match that pattern to get that hit in. And then you have to take away all their energy to win the game. Super hard, super challenging. I was pleasantly surprised. I was expecting a fun game, but wow, there is a lot in this tiny little box. Let's go to our next game. Something nice and serene. We have The Butterfly Garden by Dr. Finn Games, and I'm throwing it around. This actually came free as a bonus with another of his games that I bought. This is a 2 to 5 player game. There is not a solo mode, but if you're looking for a fun game with someone in your family or a whole group, you enjoy these calm nature themes, this one is quite lovely. So what it is you are collecting butterflies in jars to then take these butterflies and place them in different locations so they can be populated and prosper, basically. It's like basically you're like in a city and they're destroying the butterflies' habitats. So you're trying to collect the butterflies from these habitats where they're gonna die and place them in a beautiful place where they can live and breed. Super cool. So each player has their own jar and they have their own butterfly cards. You basically are bidding. Each butterfly card that you collect has numbers on it. So you place your cards face down to determine turn order at the beginning of a turn. You flip them over, whoever has the higher number goes first. That person then gets to select, they get to take their little butterfly net and decide which butterflies that are on display. There's usually 3 in display. If it's 4 players, there's 4 in display, or 5. That's how it goes. You place your butterfly net down, and that's the card that you are going to claim. Then the card that you used to make the bid, that goes into your jar. And you turn the card sideways, and it has like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different butterflies of different colors. What you want to do is collect enough butterflies in your jar to deliver them to a location. Each location has certain butterflies on it. So it's like, here's a blue one and here's a purple one. If it's a black butterfly, that's wild. It can be any butterfly. If you meet that order, basically, so it's order fulfillment, then you discard the butterflies from your jar and release them into this location. Collect that location for points. Person with most points at the end wins. It's a lovely game. 2 to 5 players. Check it out. And next, Token Terrors. I'm kind of sad. Because I swear I got to talk to, I think it was the designer, if not it was the publisher, and I swear it had a solo mode. I thought it did. Maybe it was an expansion. Maybe I made it up in my head. I don't know. But it's a 2-player game. So I'm so sorry, no solo mode with this, but if you're looking for a 2-player game, Token Terror Battlegrounds, and this is by Terrible Games. It's got some super cute minis, I don't know if cute, I think they're cute, that you can see in the pictures. This game comes with a whole comic that has a story. This is a high quality booklet, high quality art, great little story that tells you all about this world. There's even a map that you'll see in one of these pictures for this fantasy world. But this is a dueling game. This is chess of a different sort, where you get to actually select what type of army you have. There are melee fighters and there are ranged fighters, each one with their different abilities. So you can pick, like, forgive me if I'm forgetting some of them, but there's like, they're not helicopters, but they're these little like gadgety mechacopter things, and of course you've got goblins and elf archers and your knights and I think dragon. Yeah, there's these like dragon thingies. So each one of you starts with the draft and you're like, all right, I want so many from this faction. Then the other person can be like, all right, I want so many of this faction. And you go back and forth until you have your total of 10. And then you shuffle them in your graveyard baggie, bring out 5 at random, put the other 5 in a supply, and you place them on the battle board. And you take turns taking movements and then getting into battle with each other, trying to win the battle. If one of your characters gets defeated, then you replace them with one from your supply. Person with no guys left, of course, is the one that loses. Not so sure why that was so hard to figure out how to say that. Yeah, so eliminate your opponent. And then you have the faction cards that you used get to be put in front of you, and they have their own special abilities that you can read and look at. So it looks like a great dueling game. Again, unfortunately, no solo option. And the graveyard bag, I thought that was super cool. Downside that the instructions note as well is if you choose to take tokens from the same faction, so say I got 3 of the red dudes and my opponent wanted 2 of the red dudes, that's going to get confusing on the battlefield because they all look the same. So how are you going to track who is the enemy opponent? And I was thinking a way to fix that, they could have given little like colored bands that you put for your side and the other does for the other side. So they recommend that you just don't really share factions, and thematically it doesn't make sense. I guess goblins going against goblins unless there's a civil war. But other than that, looks cool. Token Terrors Battlegrounds. It was about $45. You got some nice looking tokens in there. Check it out. Let's go to a game that has a solo mode. Cosmic Run Regeneration. This is also by Dr. Finn Games. Dr. Finn. So this is the game that I purchased that I got Butterfly Garden for free with. Both very high quality games. This is actually out of print, which is why I got it. He said he wasn't sure if he was going to do another print run. So maybe if we show interest, perhaps he will. So we'll see here. Cosmic Regeneration Run. This is a game where you are racing in order to land on planets before they get destroyed. So you're starting at a space station with a spaceship, and you have to get your spaceship to the planet before 3 asteroids hit it. First asteroid, second asteroid hits it, you're still okay. So the way that you move is by rolling dice and allocating their dice. Each planet has a different requirement. So for example, if I want to get from my spaceship to planet 1, there is a track for that, and that is one of the longer tracks. For that one, I have to put a dice that is a 1. Now I can put 2 dice that are 1 to move 2 spaces. Each value is going to move me 1, but I can only place 1s there. The second planet is a slightly shorter track, so I don't have to move as much, but it's harder because I have to get 2 dice of a kind on that space. So if I roll 2 6s, I can put them there to move 1 space. And it goes up. The third planet is 3 of a kind, but shorter track, and up and up and up. The 6th track is unique in that you can place any dice there. You can also place your yellow dice that you have for a great bonus. That is the longest track though. So what you do is you take your turn, you roll the dice, you allocate them, and you can gain aliens as like supporters that have special one-time use abilities that help you mitigate the dice. You can also collect crystals by placing dice on a crystal card where you can use those crystals to mitigate the dice. So there's lots of mitigation going on in order to get the right combination. Meanwhile, after each turn, you flip over a meteor card and you find out where the meteor lands. It'll tell you which planet it hits or if it was a miss. So you got to really watch those planets, because once the third meteor hits a planet in the solo game, then the game is over. In a multiplayer game, it just means that that planet is closed off for scoring. So you immediately score wherever you are. People further along in the track get more points. Not as far along in the track get less points, and so on and so on. So for multiplayer, it's a race. It's truly a race to get to the different planets and get the most points by the end. For solo, it's also a race to get the most points and not let any planets get destroyed. There is an extra module for technology or tools or something, but it doesn't work well in the solo game, so that's for cooperative. So it has the competitive mode, the solo mode, and the cooperative mode. And the cooperative mode plays differently than the solo mode, and you've got those extra tools in there which look pretty cool. I haven't tried that one out. And then there is an expansion that was in there as well with a special types of, they weren't actually aliens, they're a new type of thing that grant different abilities. And some of them I could see being used solo, some of them would be exclusively multiplayer. So I didn't play with that because I didn't feel like sorting through it, but cool stuff. Cosmic Regeneration Run, Cosmic Run Regeneration. Next game. Actually first, real quick, we're gonna do a nice little giveaway just for my viewers, a special little thing thrown in here. Sir Meeple sent me some very beautiful acrylic tokens for the game Obsession, one of my favorite games. I've always got it on my shelf over there. Pride and Prejudice and Intrigue and stuff in the 19th century. But I have two full sets of each of the different servant tokens, and these are very high quality acrylic, beautiful pins. And then of course the cat card, one of my favorite ones, and this beautiful dice. So if you are a fan of Obsession, or you just like acrylic tokens, or you just want some beautiful meeples, just send an email to boardgamesfor1@gmail.com. Mention the giveaway in the subject line. Just put Obsession giveaway or acrylic giveaway, pin giveaway, just mention the giveaway. And then in the email, tell me whatever you want. Tell me what you had for breakfast, how's your day going? How is your day not going? Don't say anything. It's all up to you. Ask me a question. Hey, ask me a question. Anything you like. I'll decide if I can answer. Anyway, I have 2 sets, so I'll be sending it out to 2 winners, and we'll keep the giveaway open until December 31st. Then after that, January 1st or the week after, I will randomly pick the 2 winners from all the entries and send it out to you. All right, let's get back to the games. All right, Dead Alive Games. This was a very special find, Omicron Protocol. Now, they are more known right now for their Kickstarter Lunar Rush, which is quite the hot game right now, quite in demand. And I did not back that. I am looking forward to playing it, but I saw Omicron Protocol and it actually caught my eye more. So Lunar Rush is a Euro game. Omicron Protocol is actually a skirmish. I don't have any games that are a skirmish, and that's why I wanted this, because how do you play a 1-player skirmish? And I want you to see an option of that. How does it work? So this is for 1 to 4 players, 45 to 90 minutes, ages 14 up. And it takes place, it's kind of futuristic, a cybernetic time where you are in this city, I forget the name of the city, but in this city a virus has broken out, like a computer virus, and different people have different cybernetics. So the people with cybernetics that got the virus turn into these kind of aggressive, very dangerous people. The city has been sealed off from the rest of the world, and the citizens within it have been left to deal with life themselves and try to survive. So they've broken off into different factions, and that's what you play as, is one of two different factions. So there's the ones that are made of like the cops and things like that, and they're all good guys, and then more like the rejects of society that don't have the cybernetic implants that are also good guys. So it's not good guys, bad guys, it's just different groups of people trying to survive. So in this skirmish, if you're playing multiplayer, then what you would do is you would have your side on this game board with different obstacles around as well that affect your line of sight and targeting. Basically, this teaches you how to play a skirmish style game. It's almost like a skirmish 101. Then your opponent would have their team and they're coming against you, and your goal is to be the one to eliminate the enemy, the opposing faction. But you also have these, I forget what they're called right at the moment because I've been learning all 6 of these games, so it all gets blended together. But the Sims, that's what they are. Cybernetic implants, cybernetic something something. But CYM, Sims. You've also got these Sims on the board that are attacking both of you, depending on proximity and other factors. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Each of your characters have different special abilities. Oh my goodness, a lot going on. But here's what I really like about this. So this game has 3 different instruction booklets. I know, scary, right? There's the regular instruction booklet, there's an introductory tutorial, there's the solo instruction booklet. Follow the instructions exactly as the publisher sets them. They did a good job. They have a quick start tutorial. Start in that book. It tells you, even if you're playing solo, to play the game alone as a 2-player game, and they give you just like 1 or 2 sample rounds. You don't play a whole game. And if you finish that tutorial, you'll understand the basics of skirmish battle, particularly in this game. It's great. And then it tells you to go to the regular instruction guide. The regular instruction guide tells you if you want to play solo, finish this regular instruction guide first. Follow everything in order and then play solo. So you're going to invest a little bit of time, but you're not playing full games. It's just sample rounds. But do it in the correct order and you won't be confused. Then by the time you get to solo, you will see you can play solo or cooperative against basically an AI opponent. And what it is you just control one faction. There's no opposing faction on the board. It's just you versus the Sims, and you're completing storied missions. And this game has like 10 missions or something like that with stories. And the stories are actually based on like a graphic novel that they have, which I didn't purchase, but I'm interested in it. I'm interested in the story. So the 10 scenarios are based on that, and you can play them in any order. You can replay them, but they do follow a story sequence if you start from the first one all the way to the 10th one. Each game, though, is a standalone game for each of the missions. Anyway, what they do is for solo, the AI end up getting special abilities each turn that make them more challenging, where if you remove those Sims, then it's like the more of each type of Sim that's out, the harder it gets. So say there's 6 different types of Sims, 6 different character models, either cardboard standees or the miniatures. And if you have 3 of the same type out, they get more dangerous, they get more powerful the more that are on the board. So you want to keep trying to like take them out like a spoon emptying a bath with the faucet on, right? You're just trying to keep that damage down so you can race and get this objective done. So pretty cool. Still plays just like a skirmish. I'm pleasantly impressed, and I'm looking forward to playing more. Omicron Protocol. Oh, and it does, I did see something where I think 2024 they're planning on an expansion for it. So it is a living game with more to come. And finally, surprise Euro, actually, that I was not expecting. Intrepid. Another space. Look, I was just into space. Intrepid, and I got the version with the expansion with it. Now this was, I think, $60, $65, which is a really good price for something of this size. It does have game trays inserts, which is really nice. Before I get into the gameplay, though, I will say one thing is the quality of the components is very good, except on the player boards, as they are dual layer, they do tend to warp a little, which is, I had that happen with Dinosaur World. It's something that happens with a lot of dual layer boards. It's hard for them not to warp. So it doesn't in any way interrupt the game, but just know there's a little bit of warping. And the spinning wheel, which is really cool, you have a wheel that you spin to let you know how many resources you have to use each round, as well as how many resources you have developed or grown or something like that, collected. The spinning wheel is good, but if you have it on felt or something like this, it kind of sticks. So you're better on a hard surface, or you just have to lift the board a little bit to turn it. So it didn't work totally perfect. Those were really my only digs on the game. This is so cool. So if you're playing solo or cooperative, it plays the same way. You just have different nations involved. So it's 1 to 4 players, ages 13 up, 90 minutes. Sounds about right. So what it is you are on a space station, and you are trying to keep the space station alive and running, keep everybody alive while disasters happen. So it's just one disaster after another is coming against you. And there are different like scenario packs for different disasters that can come against you. So one's like solar flare or something, and others like toxic leak. And then there's also the tutorial, which is what you'll see in the pictures. And each of those will play a little differently each time you play the game as well. So pretty cool. And then of course the expansion adds a couple more, or Meteor Shower, that's one of them. The Mission Critical expansion adds some more disasters as well. But what you do is you have 4 different stations that you have to keep running. You've got like power, life support, food and nutrition, and something else. I'm sorry, I'm not remembering at the moment. Whether you're playing solo or co-op, all 4 of those are in play. So pretty large table presence. And then you've got your technologies that you've developed, not necessarily tech trees, but just the technologies you've developed on the center board right up here. Each player is going to select the country they want to play as. Each country has their own special abilities and variable difficulty. So like Japan is more advanced, not necessarily in technology, but more difficult to play. And then you have USA and what is it, Canada? No, Canada is a little more advanced. Who did I play as? Russia. USA and Russia are like your beginner ones, right? But anyway, asymmetrical ability is pretty cool. If you're playing with 4 people, you have 4 countries in play. If you're playing solo, you only have to control 1 country. I appreciated that. So even though you're managing multiple boards, it doesn't feel like you're controlling 2 players at all. It runs together seamlessly. All right, so what you're doing is you are rolling dice, but this is not a game of chance at all, because each of your nation's abilities and your technologies that you are able to buy from like ability from your action store, basically your ability store to put on the board, they all let you use your dice in different ways. So if I rolled like a 2, 3, and a 6, well, I could look at all my abilities and be like, well, I'll place the 6 here, and that lets me add another dice and roll it, boom, and I can place that die here, which lets me re-roll the 2 dice I have, boom, that's what I wanted. So now I can put these 2 dice right here, which let me get 2 dice from a supply up there and put it in here, and then I'll place this dice right here, which is then gonna let me get 2 dice from over here. I'll roll it, I have to discard 2, keep 1. So you end up using all your dice. It's just a matter of planning it out. So this is a true Euro that uses dice placement. And then of course a disaster happens and messes everything up, and every round you have to gain resources and use resources. If you run out of resources, say you run out of energy or nutrition, then it's game over. So you have to keep the resources up while also getting enough resources to complete missions. So that's how you win the game, is you complete a series of 1, 2, 3 missions, I believe. Don't remember the exact amount, but you have to complete all of the missions, and then you win the game, either cooperatively or solo. So there you have it, my Pax Unplugged haul. I wanted to share each, because they each bring something different to the table for you. Do any of them interest you? Let me know in the comments as always if this is helpful. Be sure to give me that like, that's how others find this video. Be sure to subscribe to keep finding more games that play multiplayer, but also have a great solo mode. The next video coming to you is going to be a legacy game that fits in the palm of your hand, for real. And it's actually high quality. I'm excited to bring it to you. In the meantime, I made this next video just for you. I love you all. I'll see you next time.